turn number 1. It is no mystery why that car was disabled and was unable to make the feature.
Yeah, in 2 different qualifying heats, both Scott Maholski and Steve Maholski ran into problems, so no surprise in the 44 machine with the heavy damage, as Matt alluded to, down into turn number 1. As a matter of fact, you can see the skid marks getting down into turn 1 where he hit the wall outside in that opening lap of qualifying. Now, Steve Maholski came into tonight's race being second in the championship points, only 6 points behind Scott Maholski, so this is a pretty pivotal night. Doug Curry is going to be able to pick up a bunch of ground on Maholski, Steve, that is, if he can have a good run tonight in the 2 car, and he'll start to the inside of row number 3, so that's one of the stories we'll keep an eye on here in the next 15 laps.
Well, right now, it's a story of the start, and it's won by Evan Burgoyce, as he was like a clown out of a jack-in-the-box, was able to jump into the lead. Bob Alacco headed to the wall, and he was able to keep the car off the wall, but he goes from the top to the bottom of the track.
And we stay under the green flag with Evan Burgoyce leading the charge. Talk about how important it's going to be for Doug Curry to have a good night. Well, how about this? He's looking for the lead to the inside lane off turn 4.
And it looks like he has some voltage in that number 2 car. Evan Burgoyce maintains his lead by about the length of a diving board. Then there's trouble for Barbosa. He goes up, and coming out of nowhere in car number 37 is Glenn Thomas, and he goes from obscurity into 3rd place.
Took advantage of the fact that Roy lost a bit of momentum. Now they come together, coming up off the turn, 1 car to the outside wall. That's Barbosa, along with the 79 of DJ Trudeau. Just really nowhere to go. The 06 of Ekdahl goes sliding through the grass as well here on the front straightaway. The 2 laps in, 3 cars involved, and they were racing 2 and 3 wide up off turn number 4, and there just wasn't quite enough room to make it all work as they came back to the main straightaway.
As Barbosa got squeezed, and he just bounced off the wall as he thumped it very hard. So some punishment absorbed by the 4. Ekdahl was in trouble, but it's a little easier when you go through the grass. It's a lot less painful.
And just getting word right now that Steve Maholski, Matt, in the 04 car tonight after having to go to that backup machine because of the problems he had in the qualifier.
Yeah, the normal driver of that car is Mike Anzalone, but he has given the keys to the car to Steve Maholski in the 04. So that is a pretty good thing. Now, neither Scott or Steve got any points during the qualifying because neither finished among the top 5. So it will be a good battle between the 2 cars. To whoever finishes ahead in that battle might be the driver who will take over the point lead.
A lot can happen, though, in the course of this feature event. Work continuing here just onto the front straightaway where Russ Barbosa pancaked the right side of his 4 machine into the outside concrete here at the racetrack, and the 79 of DJ Trudeau got in the mix.
Well, you can't get those type of pancakes at IHOP.
Nope.
As that car hopped right into the wall. And the 04 of Steve Maholski was not listed in the starting lineup, so that was a late addition. So we are ready to go back to work. And our cars are being yanked from the wall. 2 laps in of a 15-lap feature. And what a great night it has been. I think that tour race was one of the most exciting we have seen in a while because it had a lot of different people who had an opportunity to win. In the beginning, it was Kobe dominating. Then Lutz kind of took it over for a while. Then Santos took it over and looked like he was going to take it over for good. And then, you know, the old cliche, you're only as good as your last restart. Well, the restart came up to bite Bobby Santos, and Kobe was in the perfect place to take advantage of it.
In this case, Santos was only as good as his shifter lever that snapped off on that race car, braking and the transmission. He wasn't able to come up through the gears, and Kobe was able to get the win. But you're right, Matt. There were a lot of storylines throughout the Bud 150 here tonight. You saw Obviously, Craig Lutz had a very good run, was in the midst of having the opportunity to win that race, at the caution flag not come out at the end. Justin Bonsignor nearly got 7 in a row. Doug Kobe, for once, flips things and goes from losing 2 races in the final 4 or 5 laps to finally winning a race in the final 3 or 4 laps and ending his bad luck. We didn't even talk about the fact that his business partner had his street car stolen from his garage yesterday, and they recovered it in the city of Hartford and got it back without a scratch. And so Kobe, on the racetrack and away at his day job, has had plenty of problems and ups and downs over the past little bit. So lots of storylines, among others. Jimmy Blewett with a great run tonight. Matt Swanson was strong.
Timmy Salamito rallied to finish 5th.
Yeah, where did that come from, right?
Yeah. He was at times he wasn't on the lead lap. And Andrew Krause, it looked like he was going to go to the rear of the field, and it started as a promising night. It turned sour, and he wound up finishing 7th.
So what a night it was. And we still are not done yet.
And don't forget, October 12th and October 13th, the Whelen Modified Tour comes back to Thompson for its final appearance of 2019 at the World Series. And that is always one of the most dramatic races of the year. It has a great buildup for about 2 weeks, and then we get to see the best drivers in the Northeast one more time.
The lights are out in the pace car. We'll set to go again here for the final 13 laps of this mini stock main event. Big night. Doug Curry up there on the front row. What can he do with it?
Well, Dougie Fresh has one win, but that came because of a disqualification. He said he wanted to win, finishing the line across the line first. We'll see if he can pull it off tonight. He gets off to a pretty solid start, and here comes Thomas to challenge him.
Thomas was right with him there for a moment.
But the yellow will put things on hold.
Yep. Not the start that they were looking for. When they came back around, they want to get those drivers to start in the restart zone, the 2 red marks that are on the wall between turns 3 and 4. They want a good, even start here to make sure it's an even and level playing field when they come back to the green.
Well, it was the start that Curry was looking for. Now he'll try to do it again against Evan Burgoyes.
Green is out. Evan Burgoyes gets the upper hand this time through, and he leads him down to turn 1.
Boy, that swoosh you heard was at number 78 of Burgoyes moving in front. Here comes Curry. He has room on the inside, and he is going to catapult his way into the lead.
Curry rolls the bottom. Here's Roy now. Thought about making it 3 wide into turn 3. Not enough room for that to happen. They're 2 by 2 off the turn.
And now moving up into the top 4 is Roy in car number 1, trying to take a spot away from Glenn Thomas. But right now, the ringleader of the circus is Doug Curry in car number 2. Thomas going to the inside of Burgoyes.
Looking into turn 3, runs the bottom groove. Burgoyes runs the middle. Thomas with a good run here as they come off turn number 2, trying to take over the runner-up spot.
And he has the stamina as they greyhound their way into the second corner. And Thomas is on the verge of blasting away from Burgoyes. And now it's Glenn Thomas in second. But we have yellow out on the track and trouble for Joe Babalaka.
He's able to get that car rolling once again. But the caution flag is out, 4 laps in. And your race leader, Doug Curry, out in front, will now have to battle with 37 car, Glenn Thomas from West Bridgewater, Mass. When they stack him up again for the restart. Quick look at the racetrack here along the front straightaway. Make sure there was nothing laid down on the racetrack where the 20 of Joe Babalako had his problems. It should be pretty quick. We'll get the 1 to go most likely next time through.
And it should be quite a restart between Doug Curry and Glenn Thomas. In the number 3 position, Evan Burgoyes. And then Jared Roy and Ian Brew round out the top 5. Right now in the battle of the Mahalskis, it doesn't get much closer than it is, because it is Scott in 6th and Steve in 7th. And remember, the point lead is up for grabs between those two guys.
Everybody's stacked up in rows of 2 as they make their way down the backstretch. We'll try it again here. Curry already with a win to his credit this season in the 2 car. The race leader to the outside. Thomas now on the bottom, 3 wide as they come around for the start. Thomas did not come up to speed. They staggered around behind him. Roy goes to the outside. Inside goes Burgoyes, and the race is on for turn 2.
And Thomas drops all the way back to 4th place. He's trying to tap dance around Evan Burgoyes. Brew moving quickly through the field. Now Steve Michalski putting a move on Scott, and the 04 is on the verge of picking up a position.
Moving forward there, outside the top 5, ahead of them, a side-by-side battle between Thomas and the 37. They come together. Burgoyes is in the wall. Thomas is in the wall. Oh, and multiple cars now involved.
John Ekdahl was a late arrival in the 06.
Ekdahl with nowhere to go, drive right into the left side of the 78 of Evan Burgoyes up there in turns 1 and 2. Thomas's car has since pulled away. Burgoyes out of his race car in that 78.
Boy, they crash like billiard balls in the area between turns 1 and 2.
And Ekdahl, the other car involved, up at that end of the racetrack.
So a mess in the first corner, and our emergency crew quickly goes to the spot. 5 laps completed with Doug Curry in front. Remember, waiting in the on-deck circle, one of the most competitive divisions at Thompson Speedway, the late models. We had some great qualifying, some cliffhangers there, and I think that will carry over into tonight's 25-lap feature.
All season long and for the past couple of years, the late models have been a lot of fun to watch. Coming into the night, William Wall leading the way. Woody Pitkat among the top 2 in the standings. They're pretty tight. Only about 17 positions on the racetrack separating them.
And Woody was able to pick up a couple of points during qualifying. Woody, the hottest driver in the division, with a couple of wins for Hartwell Motorsports. And Jeff explained the reason for the resurgence, just that the driver getting to know what the crew wants to do, and the crew getting to know the driver and how he is. So the communication, I think, was the most important thing in getting that team out to a good run in the middle of the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So we still have a log jam in between turns 1 and 2. Now, in the point standings, heading into tonight, Scott Michalski had a 6-point lead over Steve. They neither one scored in the qualifying round, so it's still a 6-point advantage for Scott Michalski over Steve. And after tonight, there'll be 3 races left in the season. So that battle should come down to the wire.
Cleanup continuing. They've pulled the 78 machine of Evan Burgoyes, who was very fast tonight, on the back of the Thompson Auto Care wrecker right out the gate in turn number 2. That car got clobbered pretty hard, Matt, as you would say, right between the 7 and the 8 in the driver's door when Ekdahl came flying in there, where the 2 cars had spun.
Yeah, right at the 7.5. So there's a lot of speedy dry being placed down, an indication that a lot of liquid went from that number 78 car. So we are still going to work. While the NEMA race was going on, I went online, a pretty good story by Sean Corshane of RaceDayCT.com on light modified winner Teddy Hodgson. So Well, I was going to say when you get home you can read it, but now you can read it wherever you
Yeah,
are.
right now.
Yeah, so that's a interesting reading on tonight's program, and I'm sure he's got a pretty good story on file about Doug Colby. And Doug Colby, the one thing about him, he always has interesting things to say. Sometimes a little more interesting than than usual.
Apparently, he's been saying a lot of interesting stuff lately. And he
Yeah,
doesn't
and
even have to. He doesn't even have to say that much at all, and it's interesting.
Yeah, and some even can make it on the website.
That's true.
So check out those stories tonight on racejct.com. We see Ekdal's car being dragged off onto the infield, so he'll be in spectator territory.
Yep, pretty sure tonight that Kobe's comments were crest clean after the race tonight.
Crest clean, like in toothpaste?
As in toothpaste.
Yes. He brushed off the rest of the field on the final 2 or 3 laps. And they go to Oswego coming up next, and that is a pretty big weekend.
Labor Day weekend, Budweiser Classic.
And then after that, they go back to Riverhead for the second time. Justin Bonsignore will be trying to make it 2 in a row. Remember, it was John Beatty who gave him all he could handle. And the big controversy in that race, as people criticized Beatty for restarting on the outside, and it turned out that that strategy didn't work out, and Bonsignore was able to win. Going sideways, but he still won. I guess he didn't win any style points. He only won the race that night.
Trip back to Stafford Speedway after that, and then it goes off to Loudon for the, actually it's Loudon first, then Stafford. The Musket 250 again, the highlight event for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour for 250 laps up there. A long one. Pete Falcone will have the call on that this week, or that weekend on September 21st. And then Stafford, then Thompson on October 13th for the World Series of Speedway Racing.
250 laps. How many cliches would you be able to get in 250 laps?
I got to be honest with you. Announcing a race at New Hampshire, cars, there's a lot going on in that racetrack. The pace is different when you're announcing a mile racetrack versus a half mile or a 5/8 mile like this. But there are so many lead changes in a race like that, you never know where to look.
Yeah, and I guess, is there at any time there could be anyone in the field who would have the lead because of the pit strategy and the pit stops and the way things work out. So everybody seems to have their moment of glory in a long race. It used to happen here at the old Thompson 300, and I'm sure it happens at the Musket 250.
It does indeed. Last year's race, if it was any indication, was very aggressive. You know, there was a lot of question marks going into it. You know, you're running 250 laps on a mile-long racetrack. Very, very long race. How aggressive are you going to be? Is there going to be a lot of lead changes? You know, I was wondering what the motors would do, how they would handle, how would fuel and tires and pit stops and all this work. To be honest with you, there was just as many lead changes as the normal 100-lap races that they run in the Cup Series weekend up there. And it was incredible, incredible racing action.
And a lot of people wondered how many cars would be on the lead lap.
Yep.
That was another point of conjecture. And it turned out it was a barn burner and a controversial finish. And we'll see what happens for Chapter 2 coming up at the end of, September 25th? 21st.
Yep.
September 21st, and then the fall final at Stafford will be on the 28th and the 29th.
Then we roll right back here to Thompson, where we settle all the issues. So a lot could change between now and then when we come back for that 57th Sunoco World Series of Speedway Racing in October. And of course, Matt, who's got the best memory in motorsports, will start on Friday, and he will remember every single winner that goes across a checkered flag in those 3 days of World Series weekend. And I've heard that you can remember about 7 or 8 things without having to write it down, Matt. But how many cars do we have this year? Divisions? We got 16, 17 divisions as usual?
Yeah, don't forget we also have the vintage cars that are here.
And there's 2 winners in one of those races.
Yes, and they're not household names sometimes.
That's right.
So things could be a little precarious, but it will be the weekend. It is an event, and everybody, the competitors, I think they would rather win a race at the World Series than outside of winning a championship, winning a race at the World Series is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, no doubt at all.
And some people do both in the same race, win the race and win the championship.
Not much better than that.
No, that is the glory days. Right now, well, we have a glory restart because on the inside is Jared Roy, as Doug Curry has elected to restart on the outside. We'll still have at least one more dress rehearsal lap. We'll check out, well, it is a clench yellow, and we should be ready to fire him up the next time by.
10 laps to go. Still a long way in this mini stock feature event with the late models on deck to be the nightcap for our event here this evening. We'll see what Doug Curry can do now with the new challenger on the front row in the form of Jared Roy.
And we'll see if Jared Roy can boogie his way on the inside as a pace car has become a spectator. And now the spotlight is on our mini stocks.
Green flag is out and across the line. Dead even in a battle for the top spot. Down into turn number 1 they go.
Doug Colby was cautious after the first turn, but he is aggressive in the second turn, and he moves ahead of Roy and has a commanding lead.
Looking good now into turn number 3. Roy settles into second. Wheel to wheel now for third. Here's Thomas working on the inside lane.
He was able to screwdriver his way underneath Ian Brew, and now he is on the attack against Darren Roy. So it looked like Thomas was going to suffer some hardship, but right now he is back in the fight in third, breathing napalm.
Charging hard on the back straightaway, looking for the second spot. Here's Thomas, that red number 37. He likes that low lane through turns 3 and 4. It's where he's been making a lot of his ground up, and he closes in some more on Roy this time.
Yeah, he is within handshaking distance of the 1 car. Moving into second, let's see if he can get closer. In the number 4 spot is Ian Brew, and it is Steve Mahalski. He is able to get the jump on the 20 of Bavilaco, and only temporary. Bavilaco gets his spot back.
Gets back into the top 5 with that 20 car. 7 laps to go this time through for the mini stock competitors. Doug Curry, a comfortable advantage. He's in his own zip code at the front of the field.
And Scott Mahalski is at the rear of the field. He is the point leader, suffering some aches and pains on that car, but it is clear sailing. A great view for Doug Curry, and he is pulling away from Roy, and Roy tried to pull away from Thomas.
Well, should it stay
But trouble for Steve Mahalski. That car goes up in smoke.
in the inside lane? Caution is out. Fluid on the racetrack to the bottom, and Mahalski goes spinning. And I was just about to say, you know, if the race ended now, it probably wouldn't be all that bad for him. He's back in the 6th spot. He survived a night where he destroyed a race car, and now he's destroyed 2 in one night. This one, a motor failure.
I was doing some quick math in my head, and if the race finished the way it was before that blown engine, it would have been tied heading into the August 31st race. But it looks like Steve has another migraine, and Scott, even though he's at the rear of the field, will probably maintain his advantage for one more race, at least, and maybe more. Scott Mahalski has won a mini stock title before, so he knows how to run for points.
And because of the rain out this year that pushes that July race to September, there's still a lot of racing left to go. So 3 races, a lot can happen.
Yeah, 3 races for every division except for the Sunoco Modifieds, and they will have 4 races because of the 2020 sprint on September 8th.
2 points races into one day. and one overall winner. So we'll have 2 race winners and an overall winner. Sometimes they're the same person.
Wow, there is still some damage on that number 51 car, as earlier tonight the right front was almost torn off, and it still looks pretty messy. So our crew is surveying the action in between turns 1 and 2. It looks like they have just about completed its mission. One other vehicle in the middle of the turn. 9 laps have been completed, so 6 laps standing between Doug Curry and his second win of the year. And the first one, he was given a free pass because of a disqualification. Today, things are a little more difficult for the driver of car number 2.
It's always fun when you get a chance to drive across and get that checkered flag and to celebrate in victory lane. The Maholsky 04 still parked at pit out on pit lane. They want to try to get that car pushed off the racetrack in turn 2 before they continue on. They'll make another pass here along the front straightaway, continue to work some of the speedy dry in. It's right there in the restart zone where the teams come up to full song.
And getting shoved into the pit area is at number 04. Normally driven by Mike Anzalone, driven in this race by Steve Maholsky. Unfortunately, he only got to drive it for 9 laps before it blew up. Fastest lap in this race, Doug Curry. That is not a surprise. 24.703 has been the best lap of this race. So we have Evan Burgoyce out, John Ekdahl out, Dave Trudeau Sr. out, Dave Trudeau Jr. out, and Russ Barbosa out. So out of the 13 cars that were here when the party started, or 14 cars, counting Steve Maholsky, we are down to 7.
Been a tough night for these mini stock competitors, and we still have 6 laps to go. We'll get the signal this time through. One more time around for the green flag. Safety services crew will head for cover, and we should get ready to go and see how it'll all rack up. Curry's been real good on these starts. He's going to be tough to beat. Roy's going to really have to dig deep if he wants to find a little extra speed and find a way around the 2 car of Doug Curry.
Well, we are ready. It is decision time. And ready to go to work. Curry on the outside. And it usually takes him about 1 turn to get up to maximum speed. And then he is able to ramp it up. We'll see what happens on this restart.
Pace car is in. And the green flag back out again. Curry and Roy. Much more even this time through. Curry didn't get as good of a start as he had the last time. Roy will keep pace in turn 1.
But by the time they get to turn 2, it is Curry back in front. Bold move by Thomas. As he tried to machete his way underneath Roy, he came up empty-handed.
And he lost a bunch of ground as the battle for 4th now rages on. 42 to the outside lane of the racetrack continues to battle up high for Ian Brew. Bavalaco working down the inside lane in the battle for 4th.
I think Smokin' Joe is having a little flashback, remembering how he used to run when he was a contender every week, as he is holding his own with Ian Brew for the number 4 and 5 positions. Behind them is JT Supernaut, but trying to run and hide Doug Curry. 4 laps stand between him and his second win of the year.
Tom is starting to close in on the 1 car of Roy as they head down into the corner. Bob Lacco is still having a great battle with Ian Brew. Can't make a move this time through. To the back straightaway, Curry firmly in command. Will come to 3 to go this time.
And it is still the fastest pony in the merry-go-round. Curry, the best battle for 2nd and 3rd between Roy and Thomas. Then we go back to Brew and Bavalaco. But right now, nobody has an answer for Doug Curry.
The battle for 2nd continues to heat up, though. Roy is there. Thomas closes in a little bit more. He might have a shot at him before it's all said and done.
As he skids down low, looking for some bite. Can he find it? He is still close enough to carve his initials in the back bumper of the Jared Roy car.
Roy holding his own, though, in second. Thomas closes in again off the corner. Knocks it down another half a car length. Takes another bite out of the advantage in turn 3 when they look for the white flag this time through.
And it is Curry. Could this be the coronation lap? Thomas trying to yank away from Roy as he continues to follow the back bumper of the 1 car. It is Curry. He is coasting, jogging his way into turn number 3.
Final time around in turns 3 and 4 for Doug Curry, looking for win number 2 in 2019. Sunoco checkers are out, and Doug Curry has done it.
And Roy just nips Thomas for second. That was a close call. Ian Brew 4th, Bavilaco 5th. JT Supernaut was 6th, and Scott Mahalski 7th. Steve Mahalski 8th. Evan Burgoy's 9th. John Ekdahl 10th. Dave Trudeau is 11th, and 12th Russ Barbosa, and 13th Dave Trudeau. So even though Steve Mahalski only ran 9 laps, he only lost 2 points in the battle for the championship, and he will trail Scott Mahalski by 8. So I think he was able to avoid some serious carnage there. Critical Signs is ready to host our victory lane. Don't forget, whatever you need, trophies, you need awards, ribbons, they have everything you want at great prices and great service. See Jen and Sean, and when you see them, tell them you found out about them at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, and they will probably shake your hand.
So Doug Curry will make his way into Critical Signs victory lane. Dave Baraball will be there to host the celebration. Curry, the second win of the season, another great night for him. Fast race car, and finally able to capitalize on that here tonight and get the victory. On deck and rolling out into the infield, the crews for the late model division making their way down into the infield.
And there is a contingency sponsor in the mini stocks, as Obasted putting up $50 to a random draw, and that is the 12th place finisher. We'll be picking up the $50.
Let's go trackside to Critical Signs victory lane, and Dave Baraball.
Now he's out of the car. Your winner in tonight's mini stock feature, Doug Curry. Doug, your second win on the season, but this time you were able to wheel her into Thompson Critical Signs victory lane. Tell us what it means to you.
Oh, it means so much. This is my first, legit win at Thompson, so this means a lot. We've been fast all year, but, man, we've been struggling with keeping this thing together. At the end, it was getting so friggin' tight, I didn't know if I could hold on to it, and I was like, oh, man, just end already. Luckily, it ended. I got a lot of people to thank. Ken's Auto, Badass Creative Coatings, Street Spools and Spa, US 99.5, Joe Brockett, JSB Motorsports, Trask Family, Christus Lawn Care, EB Exterminating, APE, Norm Perry. He worked his tail off to get this motor done for us. We blew a motor last week while leading, and I'm glad I could bring it home for these guys. I got to thank my dad, my fiance, and 1 year ago today, I lost my aunt Mona, so this is for her.
And guys, your winner in tonight's mini stock feature, Doug Curry.